Hi, this is Dr. Kirk Megu, TV and podcast host and former university lecturer. Now, I was just speaking to a friend of mine from Georgetown University, a distinguished professor who's a very well-known public intellectual, and it reminded me of a story of a student at Georgetown University from many decades ago, 100 years ago, in fact. Now it's 2020 now. His name is Henry Peterson, and his story really, inspired people for decades. And it's interesting and has some lessons for us. Basically, he was a great athlete in his high school, and when he went to Georgetown University, he made the football team. But he wasn't strong enough. He wasn't fast enough. He wasn't, he wasn't talented enough to really make the cut for the first string. The coach, he always kept people on. He didn't believe in cutting anyone from the team, but Henry just sat on the bench for the entire first year. One of Henry's professors became kind of like a father figure or a kind of uncle type figure for him because Henry was far from home and he had developed this close relationship. And he had asked his professor for some advice, and his professor said, "Listen, I know how much you love this, how much you're dedicated. I could see it. Look, give it a chance. I'm sure in your second sophomore year, you're going to get a chance to play." So Henry took the advice, was dedicated, practiced, stayed late all the time. He gave it his all, but still, the whole second year he didn't get a chance. He asked his professor again later, and his professor was a bit embarrassed. But he gave, the same advice. He said, he didn't want Henry to quit. And he said, "Listen, stick it out. I'm sure, in your second year you're going to get a chance, or your third year. Sorry, because he just finished the second year." But the same thing happened in the third year, and the same thing happened over again in the fourth year, and the professor still kept giving him that advice. He felt bad, but he just felt it was the right advice to give. The whole season passed, and there was one game left. Henry actually went up to the coach, and he asked for special, he just said, "Coach, could you please let me play just, one game, at least one game?" Now, for whatever reason, the coach did let him play and agreed to it. And Henry was excited. He was all pumped. He really wanted to do this. And, he was training late. He put everything into it. But one day coming home from practice, Georgetown is a Catholic university, and there was a priest there and waiting at his dorm room. And, that's never a good sign. When he asked the priest what's going on, the priest said, "Henry, I'm really sorry. I have to tell you that your father had a heart attack, and he's in very, very critical condition. You have to go home." Well, Henry, he didn't even think twice. He packed his bag, his suitcase, and he took the bus back. Right? But the game was coming up. His father had died. So he spent his time there. Even the coach and the team and his professor and everything came out there, paid the condolences to the family and so forth. They went back, and Henry stayed back. But now, the day of the last game, Henry came all dressed up to the coach and said, "Coach, I want to play." Well, the coach, he took pity on Henry, I guess, and he let him play. The professor was in the stands, and he was cheering him on. Now, it was amazing what happened because, Henry, did not have, it wasn't planned that he was to have a big role. but somehow the quarterback gave him the ball, and Henry was running like a madman. He was just incredible. He was running 6 yards, 12 yards, 20 yards. He was the star player. I think I can't remember what the stats was, but he scored touchdown after touchdown. It was actually one of the greatest games in the history of Georgetown University's football team. And everybody was just amazing. He was the hero. They lifted him up after the game. It was his first game and his last game. It was the last game of the season. Afterward, the coach asked Henry, he said, "What was it? How come I never saw this? If I knew you were going to play like this, I would have put you on, from the first year. I had no idea. Why were you keeping this from me? What happened?" And Henry said, "You know what, Coach? It's not you. It's not you. It's me." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Coach, did you ever meet my father?" And the coach said, "No, Henry. I'm sorry. I never had the pleasure of meeting your father." And he said, "Well, my father was blind. And now today, what happened is that today is the first time that he actually could have seen me play." And you see, for the secularists among the listeners, Henry knew his father was looking on from above and was able to see, and that gave him the power to move and draw from within himself a strength that he never knew he had. And this is the same in all of us. We have these amazing qualities and an amazing potential to just do incredible things, but there are all sorts of reasons and things that keep us back. For whatever, for Henry, he needed that push that his father could see him, and that made him go for greatness. Now, for this Bulletproof podcast formula course that I put together and that I will be releasing, I'm looking for next Friday as the date. What I did is that I know that a lot of people want to do a podcast, but they think there's something holding them back. Either they think they don't have the right background, or they don't like their voice, or they're not confident they'll get good guests, or whatever it is. But there's just something keeping them back, and that's why I have all these different bonuses to address the most common issues that I know people have. I have bulletproof conversation secrets. I have bulletproof public speaking secrets. I have bulletproof. Bulletproof podcast tools. I have bulletproof podcast inspiration with people from all different backgrounds who they never thought they could do a podcast, and for them sharing their experience, how they actually overcame their fears. So, look out for these bonuses, and I'll put the link to the video below where I go through the whole range of bonuses and all the things I'm offering. But I just wanted to put that to you, that there's something inside all of us, that keeps us back from really doing what we are capable of, the greatness that's inside us. And I hope that in my Bulletproof podcast course, I address that. I know I've put in everything I could think of. If there is something that I'm missing, please let me know, because I want to make sure that you also have a great podcast. Well, that's it for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.